Republicans and Democrats both face the intense battleground of a primary election. The primary is the race to determine which candidate will be the nominee for their stated party. Each primary candidate has garnered nomination signatures from their supporters in which they clearly pledge to be running for a specific race under a platform of a specific party. Once those signatures are gathered and the candidate then files those papers with the Election Commission, again attesting to their intent to run and to be granted access to the ballot under a specific party. Party resources and time, volunteers, and money are invested in the candidate on behalf of their declared party. In recent years, Mr. Speaker, Wisconsin's primaries have been proven to be oftentimes more arduous than the general election itself. The victorious candidate and the constituency emerges from the primary bruised, but relieved to have their party candidate chosen and ready to shift their focus to the general election, pitting their party's nominee against the rival party's nominee. But a disgruntled primary loser already is prohibited from switching to another party under current law. For example, a Democratic Party primary loser cannot switch to, say, the Green Party and continue to run under that party's affiliation, nor does it allow an independent write-in to then switch to, say, the Democratic Party for a general. Once you've stated your affiliation, attested to it, gathered nomination signatures declaring your affiliation and intention, you must run as such. However, a loophole in our current election law does allow a defeated primary candidate of any party to change his or her designation by abandoning their stated party affiliation and jumping over to register as a write-in candidate. This loophole undermines the democratic process and the choices made by our voters. For a primary loser to switch party affiliation is to disregard those who nominated the candidate in the first place. The signers have a right to expect that they are affixing their name not just to an individual, but to an idea and to a process. I sign my name to a nomination, not just for the individual running, but also to the party and the philosophy the candidate stated to support. If I personally sign for an avowed candidate only to have them change affiliation midstream, I would feel deceived. A non-declared party candidate is not the same as a declared party candidate. This bill does not change the law for a non-declared candidate or prohibit any undeclared person from throwing their hat into the ring as a write-in, even up to a week before the general election. But once a candidate declares affiliation to a party and to the primary process, under this bill, they would be unable to then register after a primary loss as a write-in. Voters are already frustrated, confused, and distrustful of the current state of our election. To have a sore loser continue the bitterness and infighting after they have lost their party's nomination is simply poor sportsmanship, immature, and further alienates the voting public. The privilege of being a political candidate, Mr. Speaker, here in this great state of Wisconsin, carries with it the stewardship responsibility of the Wisconsin ideals of fairness, integrity, and honor. AB 493 would move Wisconsin forward in joining many other states who have enacted similar bans, including Illinois, Texas, Arkansas, Colorado, Nebraska, Arizona, and Ohio. A candidate should make a choice to run as a write-in candidate, and it should not be allowed as a backup plan for an unsuccessful bid at a party nomination. Former Supreme Court Justice Byron White, who, by the way, was a Democrat and put on the court by JFK. For those of you that care, he was also an NFL player, played for the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Detroit Lions. But he stated, Supreme Court Justice White stated in Storer versus Brown, quote, "The state's general policy is to have contending forces within the party employ the primary campaign and primary election to finally settle their differences. The general election ballot is reserved for major struggles. It is not a forum for continuing intra-party feuds. The people, it is hoped, are presented with the understandable choices and the winner in the general election with sufficient support to govern effectively." Wisconsin already prohibits candidates from running in 2 or more primaries simultaneously or running under a political party and an independent at the same time. I ask you all to join with me and close this loophole by passing AB 493. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.